This video is going to cover Chapter 9, Plan Sheet Production, Exercise number 2, Full Profile Sheets for Route 54. Okay, you see I have my Word document on the right, my ProjectWise Explorer on the left, and let's just go ahead and go to the exercise. So exercise 2, step 1, create a new 2D file named Name Boundary Full Profile Route 54 J5P3181 from the Civil Geometry file located in the Data 9 folder. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to copy the name of the file that we're going to create that's new. So copy that. Go to ProjectWise Explorer, open up Civil Geometry, which I already have in the background. It's open. And then I'll do a file new from there. So if you're not in Data 9 folder, that's where you want to go. And make sure you see this Data 9 in your new dialog. And then it's going to be a 2D file again, so I'll just swipe through and paste it in there. Again, you're going to get that double DGN because there's a space behind the DGN. So if we do a backspace, and this only happens when you do a copy. So we've got that. The name of the file will be named _ boundary _ full _ profile _ route -54 _ J5P3181.dgn. Once you have that name in there like I have it, hit the OK button, and it will create a brand new blank, empty file. Now the naming convention that we're using here, we're naming it what it is, which is a name boundary file, a container file, and then we're going to name it what type of name boundary it is, which is that profile, full profile, and then we're naming it for which alignment or route or anything that you're using, which would be that 54, route 54, and then the job number goes on the end. Okay, I can see right now I open up a brand new file. As usual, no coordinate system. So let's go back to our manual. What's this? The second step says let's attach that coordinate system. Well, we've done this a few times if you've been following along from day 1 in the Road 1 classes. So let's go do that. Come over, we'll go to the Utilities tab, coordinate system icon. Open it up, you can see it's empty. We'll do the from file. And we know to do this because we've attached it to other files before. So Data 9, find terrain, open it, checks it out, copies that coordinate system over, gives us a little green check mark at the bottom. We're finished with that step. We can close this, go to Word, check off number 2. So reference 3 or number 3 says reference in the civil geometry and the terrain file. Let's do that. Okay, so let's go to here. And again, I like these little quick tools at the top here. There's my references. I'll do a tools, attach, and verify that I'm in Data 9. And you can see it goes back to the folder I was in before, which was from the previous exercise. So I'm going to go to Data 9. I'm going to select the civil geometry, hold the control key, select the terrain. I have them both selected, and then I'm going to hit OK at the bottom. I'll go with the defaults on this, these 2 next dialogues, do a fit view, close the references, and then make that terrain active, as always. Bam. Okay. Okay, so once we've got that, we'll go back to our Word document and turn on and off levels. I don't believe you'll really need to do that in your profiles, but if you had levels in there for some reason that you didn't want to see in your profiles, you can turn them off. And verify the view attributes is on. And again, I don't think it's necessary for this one, but ours are already on. Not a big deal. So usually that deals with plan sheet stuff. So what we're going to do is in plan view number 1, we're going to select the alignment, and then we're going to right click and then populate a profile, and we're going to populate that in a view 8. So let's do that. So I'm going to zoom into the alignment I want to see a profile with. Select it. However, it says Route 54. It says it has an active profile of Route 54 proposed. I'll try to get my heads up prompts. Second icon is Open Profile Model, which is a cool thing from Open Roads Designer that you can actually open up a profile from a reference. So we're going to do that. Then again, I'm going to come down here to this View 8, select it, move up into that window, and then select that view of Window 8. When you do that, you'll see that it populates our existing ground profile, and it gives us our proposed profile. And that's what we want. We want to have those. So let's go back to our Word document. Once we have those in there, then we can go to the Open Roads Modeling Workflow, select the Drawing Production tab, and then the Name Boundary tool. Well, we always work in the Open Roads Modeling unless we're doing some kind of notes, but we're always in there. So let's go to our Drawing Production tab and our Place Name Boundary tool. Drawing Production, Place Name Boundary tool, and open it up. Usually it's on this last one that we had over here, so I'll put it there. That's what we used last. Scroll down, it says, in this Place Name Boundary dialog, change the options as desired to produce the clipping shapes for full profile sheets. Now, for class purposes, fill out the dialog exactly like the dialog below. So we're going to do that. Let's go over to dialog. Third icon, that's our profile. We're going to pick a sheet, a seed file, which is this full profile. We're going to pick a scale, 1:50. Pick the alignment, it'll give us a Route 54 proposed, and the alignment that we pick will be that vertical profile. That's what we need to do. We'll pick that. Okay. Start location, we'll go from the beginning, and we're going to use the station limits. I'm sorry, I skipped over that. Station limits. We'll pick our alignment, our profile. Start from the beginning. Give it a vertical exaggeration, which must match the detail scale minus the 0. So we're at 50. We'll take off that 0. Gives us 5. And then everything else should be good all the way down. So let's just go over here and start it. Profile. Full profile. Boom. Scale, 1:50. So far we're good. Now we come over into, let me move this over. Come into the View 8. It's the only way it works. You can't come up here and pick it. It won't work. You have to come down to this View 8 and you're picking that proposed profile. Okay? So you'll pick it, populates the name, and you can click on the start location to get the beginning of it, or use the station limits. Length is good. Vertical exaggeration, if you have to change it, make it 5, because we're using a 50 scale. Everything else looks pretty good. Use active vertical is huge. You want to do that. You want to have this checked on so it'll stay in this area. If you don't have this on, it'll go all the way down to 0 and place your shapes. So we want to do that. And then create drawing and show the dialog is also important. So I'm going to come on. Let me move this out of the way. And left click to place that first shape. Now as I place it, you can see it's going to build as many shapes as I need. And I think I'm going to stop right here at 3, or right in this area here. And we'll go to here. Somewhere about here. Right before I get that fourth shape. And then I'll go ahead and left click. And then you have to left click one more time. And it's going to put your shapes in there and bring us to the next dialog. Okay, so let's look at this next dialog. Go back to Word. So we did this correctly. Oh, and it tells you here the vertical exaggeration set to appropriate scale. What you're doing here is you're just, if it's a 20 scale, you're using a number 2, 5 for a 50 scale, 10 for a 100 scale, 20 for 200 scale. So really all you're doing again is taking off a 0 on that number, and that'll give you a proper number, or divide by 10, however you want to do it. Okay, and this went through everything that we did. Start location, stop location, boom. Left click the last time will give us our shapes, and that's where we're at. And then some optional things that you could do is move these shapes, okay? Really, the only thing you can do is adjust profile by name boundary using this tool, and all it'll do is move it up or down, Okay, so you can go out in your profile shapes and adjust them if you need to move the boundaries up or down. You can't move them left or right. It doesn't work well like that. Plus, it doesn't honor the old system of moving one sheet forward or one shape forward and the others following, or the preceding sheet going where you want it. It doesn't do that like it did in SS10, SS4, SS2, any of them. Okay, so now that we know that, you kind of get what you see there. Let's see. Now that the profile shapes are created, you can now start the process of creating a full profile sheet file by left-clicking one final time in advance to create drawing dialog. That's where we're at, create drawing. So again, fill it out how you need it, but for class purposes, we're going to do exactly what we've got in here. So there's a little bit of explaining to do. Okay, so what we've got is it gives us a default name. Now, well, first thing you get is you're going to come up and it's going to be unchecked. We want to check this on one sheet per DGN, and you want to path it out, make sure it goes to the plan sheets folder. Okay, so you're going to do that. You're going to go to your roadway, data 9, plan sheets. That's what you're going to do. So now, we go to the end of this, plan sheets. You'll see that, data 9, plan sheets. That's where I want to keep it. Okay. The name is important. This is the name of the file that it's going to create. So each one of these are going to be separate DGN files. We're going to have 3 of them. So if you leave this alone, it's going to create the name just like this. And you know, with our naming convention, our plotting routine, we cannot have spaces or special characters. Okay, so let's go over here and see what we got. The file name needs to be this. Route 54 underscore job number. And then here's where we're going to put the profile 01. Now, you would follow your naming convention that you need to do on the EPG, but we're going to do this for right now. We're going to do a Control-C, copy that, come over here. And also, if you look at that dialog up here, you'll see that there's 3 spots where it's got these purple rectangles. Okay? The view, name, drawing, and sheet model names being the same, we'll create new files with this defined name. No spaces or special characters. So that's what it's doing. All 3 of these have to be the same name. So I'm going to paste them in there as I copied them from the manual. You just have to remember not to, that they all have to be the same. So once you get it figured out once, then you go ahead and copy it down. So that's good. Our scale that we used was 50 scale, so let's change that. Let me go back to this thing here. Yeah, it tells us 50 scale. And then we're going to give it an annotation group as well. So 50, 1 equals 50. And an annotation group. When you pull that down, you're going to get a profile, drawing, and then pick whatever scale you're using, which ours is 50. So we're good there. Back to the dialog. Next thing we want to look at is make sure that we have a 1 inch by 50 name boundary is checked on. So. And it is. It's 1 inch equals 50. By the name boundary, we're good. Everything looks really good on this dialog. Open model will open up the last sheet that it creates. The last sheet model, which is drawing number, it'll be profile 03. So let's go ahead and create that. So once we've got this dialog filled out, we're going to go ahead and OK. We're going to select OK to create the sheets. We'll create the separate DGN files. And then we're going to be prompted to update the server copy and check in, just like we did with the full plan. Okay, and it's going to open to the last sheet model that created. So let's do that. Okay. You see it processing down on the bottom, right-hand side. And then finally, we'll get that update server copy option for the profile 3 that we're in. And then the check-in of all the other files. The name boundary file and the 1 and 2 of the profile. So we'll check those in and we'll open up to profile 03. And this is what profile 03 looks like in the sheet model. So you can see you got your VPT here. We've got our line. You can barely see it. It's yellow. Hard to see this in the sheet model. Again, and you've got your slope out here, minus 3.55%. So we've got our annotation. We've got our grid for a full profile. Again, on sheet models, the only thing that you'll edit is the title block. So back here, I believe it says let's open the drawing model. Let's do that. Look at it. Okay, so let's do that. Come back here. Again, you'll see your sheet model, and on the full profile sheet, it will also create the sheet and just a drawing model. So we'll open up the drawing model. And in here you'll see we've got our grid and we've got our annotation. So any notes you wanted to add would go in here and it would be shown in that sheet model from the drawing model. Drawing model is designed to add geometry like text, notes, dimensions, extra reference files, etc. The drawing model is still a 1-to-1 scale, so everything is the same scale as a file that you cut the sheets from. The sheet model, which you can see down below, basically takes what is the drawing model and scales it down to fit the border that is in the sheet model. Adding geometry, except for the text that is needed for the border information, to the sheet model is not recommended or, again, supported by CAD Sport, and can't tell you enough about that. So that brings us to the end of exercise for number 2.